Welcome to the dynamics of everyday life, where we demystify some tricky concepts and get to know ourselves a little bit better. Welcome back to the show, everyone. And here we are again, back in the hustle of our everyday lives, our work, our families, our social lives. It feels sometimes as if Christmas never happened. And we can get back to our old routines without even blinking an eye. Despite our New Year's resolutions to do more, do less, maybe change our habits. And for a lot of people, this might include our social media use. If we're honest, we know it's probably not great for us. And this is the can of worms that I'm delving into today. Now, most of us are on social media pretty much every day for one reason or another. It might be work, it might be to pass the time of day. It might be to check on where in the world your favourite tennis players are and if they've posted any recent action shots to brighten up your day. Whatever the reason, we can find ourselves drifting towards these platforms, almost as a way to prop ourselves up. Now, let me be clear here. This episode is not about the pros and cons of social media, and there is definitely no judgment here. I need it for my business. But I also enjoy watching what Stan and Matteo are up to tennis-wise. And for social media to work, there has to be posting. Visibility is really good for business. If people can't see you, then how do they know what they can buy from you? I mean, surely that's a given. And if you work for yourself, it's pretty much an essential. However, somewhere along the way, visibility got confused with exposure. I think this got ramped up when we started to watch Big Brother back in 2000. So 11 strangers were put in a house together and we got to see everything. I remember, I think it was series 3, when one of the housemates started to do not so well mentally. And this was when I started to feel not that comfortable watching it. I mean, some things are not for public consumption, at least in my mind. And it did feel a little bit like we'd gone back to the days of going to visit the patients in Bethlehem for entertainment. And surely we've moved on from that. But maybe not. There's this idea that we currently have that if we aren't sharing the messy middle, then we are hiding ourselves away, that we aren't being real, whatever that is. I could say that we're being inauthentic, but I absolutely loathe that word. And its partner word, authentic. Almost as much as I loathe the word triggered, which to me is nondescript rubbish. But I digress. Back to the topic. Visibility is important. Being seen matters. I think we can agree on that. And hiding isn't healthy either. But when it tips over, that's when we can have problems. So what do I mean by this? So visibility, that's intentional. It has edges and there are boundaries to it. Exposure, on the other hand, that's uncontained and it leaks. The key distinction here is that visibility comes from choice, whereas exposure, well, that often comes from anxiety. Have a think about some of the social media posts that you have seen where someone is clearly desperate for attention. You know the ones that I mean. So often in the comments, there'll be a flurry of responses such as, "You okay, hun?" and "I'm DMing you right now." And how do you feel? Do you want to respond? Does it turn you off? Or do you feel obliged to add something to the comments so that you look supportive? Again, there is no judgment here. We have all been there. But these exposing comments, they're driven from a place of anxiety. So why do we do this? What's going on from a psychodynamic perspective? Well, it won't surprise you to learn that there's some defensive behaviour creeping in. When there's anxiety, you'll often find defence lurking around in the shadows, just waiting for the right moment to join the party. Acting out is one of our primary defence mechanisms, and it happens when our nervous system gets overwhelmed. And instead of processing our feelings, we rush to get rid of them in action. We rush to do something. It happens before we've even had the chance to think. So, in its simplest form, instead of thinking, we do. Instead of considering what's going on for us and what actually might help in that moment, we rush to post and to share. And it isn't about grandiose actions. This happens every day. We post before we've made sense of something. Maybe we overshare thinking that we're being real. Maybe we send the message just to get rid of the feeling instead of sitting with it. Or maybe we tell everyone because being alone with what we've got going on feels utterly unbearable. Now, I'm not saying that this is inherently bad behaviour. It's not. That's not what we're thinking about. But it does tell us that something is too much for us to handle on our own. Oversharing, it's not a moral failing. It's our nervous system in action. What we're trying to do is we're trying to manage our aloneness, which, ironically, has increased the more connected we are electronically. Being witnessed either in person or on platforms, it's not the same as being regulated. Anxiety, it's created this urge to tell people who we are and what is going on for us. But it doesn't see anything further than that. What exposure might actually be doing to us, and whether we're going to feel any relief beyond that moment. Now, I am not saying for 1 minute that we shouldn't post on social media or share things with our friends and family. That's not what I'm saying at all. But there does come a point where it can all feel like a bit of a performance. And that's the point where we've stopped being real with ourselves. These days, marketing can feel a bit like you're stepping into the confessional booth. Do you really need to share everything with your audience so that they can connect with you? I don't think so. There's every chance that you might also be sharing things that you haven't fully processed yet. Some things need metabolising and consideration before they're shared. And some don't need sharing at all. My invitation for you this week is for you to consider where you might have confused visibility for exposure and it's been working against you instead of supporting you. You do not owe the internet the insides of your mind. And being contained does not mean that you're unconnected. We've talked in other episodes about the importance of boundaries and knowing where you stand with people. And this can actually help you feel closer to people, despite it feeling a bit counterintuitive. And I think this holds very true here. I find a useful rule of thumb to live by is, what would Audrey Hepburn do in this moment? Would she be spilling the contents of her psyche onto Instagram? I don't think so. And, as always, give yourself some grace. We live in a world where it seems that everyone shares everything on every platform going. But in reality, not everything needs processing in public. And not everything meaningful needs an audience. Thanks for listening to this episode of The Dynamics of Everyday Life. Don't forget to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. As well as producing this podcast, The Dynamics of Everyday Life has lots more psychodynamic fun going on. And you can find out more at dynamicsofeveryday.life.